Welcome back, listeners, to another empowering episode of the Style and Strategy podcast. Today, I am so excited to have a very special guest joining me, Jen B. So Jen and I actually got to meet each other through a mutual friend, through our mastermind, the beautiful Tracy Harris. And Jen was just this amazing, vibrant personality, but is also a powerhouse in the realm of personal branding as well as empowerment. With over 3 decades as a designer and strategist, Jen has made it her mission to empower women over 40 to embrace their personal brand and live in full color. She's here to share her inspiring journey, insights, and actionable strategies to help you unlock her true potential. Jen brings a wealth of experience, having worked with clients such as CBA, Kimberly-Clark, Citibank, and Woolworths. But it's not just about the big names. Jen's personal touch and dedication to her clients truly sets her apart. So grab your favorite beverage and get cozy. Let's welcome Jen B to the show.
I'm Sonia, a personal brand and style coach. My journey began in the corporate world and through lived experiences has led me where I am today. I've walked in those uncomfortable shoes, faced the same challenges and questioned my path to professional success while simultaneously navigating my personal style journey and the challenges that each decade brings. I wholeheartedly believe in the fusion of personal brand and style strategy. My mission here is to provide you with practical, actionable strategies and lived experiences to help you unlock your next level of success through the power of personal brand and style. Let's get started.
Welcome, Jen. I'm so excited to chat to you today.
I'm like, oh my gosh, is she talking about me? Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, no, absolutely thrilled. Jen, I know your story and it absolutely moved me the first time I heard it. So I would love for you to share a little bit with my listeners around your background and journey, because I really feel that it resonates with so many people out there. So maybe if we start there.
Absolutely. So for many years, like literally since, I guess, the day I was born, I was labeled big. My dear mum, bless her, and mum is now gone and I miss her every day. She was my biggest cheerleader, but she was a teeny tiny ballerina. And she went into the hospital at 51 kilos, weighing 51 kilos. I came out at 4 and a bit kilos. So you know what? I was like nearly 10% of her body weight. So it was the little mother with the big baby, because I was so different, I think, to her. And so it was always labeled kind of big. And so, Jennifer, you should wear black because, it's so flattering. And I'm plus size. No doubt about it. I was big the day I was born. I'm still big now. But, I always say I can't shrink my bones either because I have a very broad frame. But it was, yes, you should wear black. So, as life went on, I tried to conform to who I thought I should be. Bring in a narcissistic ex-husband who takes tearing down people to the whole next level. By the time he actually left that marriage, I was pretty broken and I had no self-esteem, no love for myself, only actual hate. And I was truly broken. And, I move on to something that's a slightly different story, but still also super empowering, I think, and lots to do. It's funny. I just did at the time. It was just like I was just doing what I had to do. But, it turns out that was not the normal thing. So at that time when he left, I really wasn't working because I hadn't needed to. And I was left with my mum who lived with us, my daughter, and our cats, because I am a crazy cat lady. Those that follow me, and hopefully I might see some of you lovely ladies on my Instagram. Those that follow me know I'm a crazy cat lady. But anyway, I thought, what am I going to do? Where do I go? What do I do? And so I decided that it was going to be easier to build a business than move house. So I said to my ex, I think I might buy you out of our home. And he looked at me and he laughed. And he said, you'll never be able to do that. And I went, right. Ready? You just watch me. And 12 months later, I did buy him out with the biggest mortgage that my mortgage broker had ever got for a single woman. And that was this catalyst in my life that I realized we as women can actually do whatever we want. You know, we are strong, we are amazing, we are phenomenal. And when we put our minds to something, we can do the thing. Life went on. I met a truly amazing man. I am remarried. I have a wonderful, wonderful second husband that supports me in everything that I do. And he tells me every day, I love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing. But you know something? If you don't believe it, it's really irrelevant what anyone else tells you because you don't listen.
Exactly.
So, you know, time went on and I was still there trying to be who I thought I should be. Should is a word that's actually kind of banned from my vocabulary, but I'm using it here today because, you know, it's pertinent to the conversation. I feel we should stop shoulding all over ourselves just quietly. But yeah, moving on, thinking, you know, and being who I thought I should be. You know, I was working in corporate. So I was a designer, brand designer in a corporate company, trying to fit in, trying to, you know, be invisible and stay hidden because, you know, I was too scared to stand out because my ex-husband used to say to me things like, you know, you used to be so pretty before you got so fat and ugly. Nobody actually likes you. They just tolerate you. Nobody really wants to be around you. You're a crap mother. Like all of the things. And you know what? We take all this on board and we keep it. It's suggestive language. And, you know, that's why with my darling mum, you know, who, as I said, I have no malice to her because it was like she was doing what she thought was the right thing. You know, she was a lady. She had me. It was, you know, big, fairly flamboyant as a young person. I was very different. And then the ex that just wanted to be mean, I guess. So, yeah, I was trying to fit in. And then I was actually made redundant in 2020 at the age of 52. And I was devastated. This is the end. What am I going to do? You know, nobody's going to want a 52-year-old designer. It's all about me. I'm not good. I'm not enough. You know, that's why I was like, oh, the fact of the matter is they literally just wanted to take it offshore. And it was not a decision that was made by Australia. It was a decision that was made in Switzerland. It was a global company. But that was the beginning of my life as it is now. And I now look back and I am so incredibly grateful that I was made redundant. I call it my rebirth day because as I moved forward into my new life, I just realized that I'd spent far too much time trying to be somebody that I simply wasn't. And, you know, I'll read you my favorite quote. You know, maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that really isn't you. So you can be who you're meant to be in the first place. And I now am who I was meant to be in the first place. Yeah. And I've got pink hair. I'm heading towards 56 now. I've got pink hair. I wear lots of color, pink glasses. I embrace color. I dance in public. I just live my best life. And for any of you that are listening out there that are in the phase of midlife, trust me, it's the best time ever.
I love that, Jen.
I better stop talking. I feel like I just went.
No, thank you, Jen. There are so many pivotal moments of what I would describe, it's like micro transformations that have actually occurred through your journey. And I think that's what really resonated with me when I heard some of your story. And for those, you know, I work with a lot of women who are looking to either transition their brand, you know, really update their style because of certain triggers that have happened. You know, yes, it might be positive things like there's a promotion or that type of thing, but they actually are still trying to find out who they are. And so if I take you back to those corporate days where, you know, and for the listeners, you know, I've seen photos of what Jen was like back then. And if I compare to how she is today, it is literally like seeing two different people. So I'm keen to understand when you sort of were in that environment, you know, what, looking back and reflecting on it now, what do you think were some of the things that maybe you recognize now that you maybe could have done differently, or you would have said to that, you know, younger self back then?
I honestly would have said just be who you are, be who you're meant to be. Because, we spend so much time trying to fit in. And I might add, my corporate job was they were a great company. It was not unpleasant to work there. It was actually a really good company. They were very caring. They were very, very much about, the staff being happy, etc. But it just probably was a place I shouldn't have been. But I loved it at the time. And, towards the end, I was like, oh, there's got to be more. But the thing is, and this is what so many of us do, we try to fit in. We don't want to stand out. We don't necessarily want our voice to be heard because that will bring attention to us. Now, the thing is, when we're a personal brand, and I'm a very personal brand. I mean, my business is pretty much me. We need to stand out. We need to be noticed. And that's the same in corporate. I now look back and think, damn, if I'd have pushed, at the time in the 7 years that I was there, I could have done things differently in that company. There was a lot of suggestions I had, but I just sat back and did the job because I didn't want to stand out. So, therefore it was interesting because my clothing was very corporate. It was a lot of black. Just towards the end of it, I started, I think at the beginning of 2020, that's when I dyed my hair pink, but I still wore black. And not long before, I'm just trying to think back, I went to a party and I wore a really bright dress. And that might have been 2019. So I was just beginning to break out. And then occasionally I would wear them to the office and they'd be like, whoa, look at you. And it was like, well, I am the designer. I feel like I get, dispensation to wear something a bit different. But then when I was made redundant and found out my brand personality. Now, you know your brand personality, Sonia. It gives you permission to step into who you really are, I find, as a business. But for me, everybody that is in a corporate job as well is a personal brand because we're all promoting ourselves. So, my advice would be don't just sit back and let people talk over you and remain invisible. Put yourself out there.
Definitely.
Create that style, that standout style.
Yeah. And that standout style, that's you, right? And for some,
Yes.
it might be bright and bold colors. And for some, it might be there's a signature piece. There's something there that really represents who you are and the voice that you want to be heard around as well. So tell me, when you've moved then into sort of the entrepreneurial space and you really embraced who you were and really the color, I see that with the colors and everything. It really is this holistic combination of your inside matching your outside, right? Which is something I talk about a lot. What would you say really changed for you at that pivotal moment of starting to own that?
Do you know what the most fascinating thing was? As I would go out and just be out and about, feeling very self-conscious in the color, because as a plus size lady, we are often told, we should wear black. But I would feel a bit self-conscious. But I'm like, no, I'm going to be brave. I love this. People would come up and compliment me. And people would come and say, you're so bright. You look so happy. You're making me happy. Like, oh, that's, I would be like, thank you so much. That's so nice. And then I kind of realized that also by being happy and being confident within myself to wear the color, I was actually making other people happy, which sounds really bizarre, but I get so many compliments on the color. And I think people see somebody that wears a lot of bright colors and kind of, it inspires them perhaps to think differently and to maybe go home and have a look at their wardrobe and go, oh, maybe I could wear that color, even if they're plus size, like maybe I can go home and bring some color into my wardrobe. And yeah, I think that when that started, that made me kind of really begin to like myself again. I hated myself for many years. You've heard the story where I didn't get in a swimsuit for 15 years. I just couldn't. I thought I was too fat to get into a swimsuit. And then I did. And it was like, oh, I've missed out on all this time. And, whilst I'm still a bit self-conscious, You know, the times have changed from me getting in the pool up at Airlie Beach with Tracy and Carl with the group of girls to going to Bali to actually in the March that next year getting on a boat in Hawaii in my swimsuit, standing in a queue of people feeling super vulnerable and very, very self-conscious to look around and go, actually, nobody's looking at you. Because I wanted to dive with the turtles. And I was like, I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity. This could be a once in a lifetime thing for me to do. And I'm going to get in that queue. And actually, it's really funny. My husband was taking some video as I got out of the water. I'm like, I did it, you know, because he supports me in everything, you know, every way he can, everything I do. But I was so pleased. And the thing is, for me now, I set myself these challenges and I still do this, you know, 4 years later. I set the challenges. If I'm going to be uncomfortable with something, it means that I probably should do it. I mean, let's not anything terrible, but, you know, like if standing up and talking in front of a crowd of women, something like that, it's like, if it makes me feel scared inside, I'm like, okay, I need to do that. So those are so many pivotal things. But I think, honestly, going out, walking around and people saying, oh my gosh, I love all your color. You look amazing. Thank you. You've made me feel really happy. I'm like, oh, so it's not just me. I'm affecting other people as well.
And I think sometimes what we find is when you've stepped into that of owning who you are and then finally experiencing new things, we find it difficult to then accept compliments when they come along.
Never accepted them.
I think it's also part
Never.
of sort of you know, innately many of us through the DNA will just, oh no, you know, it's not really, or you won't accept that. So going from a space where you hadn't maybe received as much all this positive reinforcement again would have been another learning journey for you to get to the point where you can actually accept it and it's okay to do that.
Yeah. I'm very accepting of it now. And it's just, I'll never forget, you know, I tell a little story because this, like, I actually, you know, I'm a keynote speaker about this journey. And I tell this little story that I was at a shop. I was in Kmart one day and I was standing in the queue. And I'm a bit of a handbag freak. I have a lot of handbags and I have some very cool handbags. And there is a particular brand that I get sent from the UK called Vendula. And they are cute as buttons. And this was a little cat cafe and I had the handbag and I saw these little girls whispering and looking at me. First thing I thought was, they're talking about me in a bad way. And I said, you know, and I mean, I have a podcast, you know, called Bring Back Your Pink for empowering women. I said to the girls, it's not nice to whisper and stare. And they said, we just really liked your handbag. And I felt so mortified and I was so upset that I had crushed these little girls by being a bit mean, but it was my problem. You know, it was me thinking they were talking about me in not a nice way. I was very apologetic. I went up to the mum. I said, I'm so sorry. This is my problem. You know, please, like, yeah, it was awful. Then about 12 months later, I was out with my best friend and my daughter and Leanne said, everybody's looking at us. And I'm like, yeah, they're probably just looking at me. Because I was out in all the color. I had a really bright dress on. I had like kicks, like sneakers, you know, high tops that were metallic with rainbows on them. I had great big Christmas earrings on. I was all in all the color, pink hair. And I went, oh, they're just looking at me. And it was like, whoa, that's such a difference to be going from that, like, don't look at me, to they're just looking at me. And not caring. I didn't care what they thought either. Like, they might have been going, oh my God, look at her. She shouldn't be wearing that. She's too big. To others going, wow, I wish I could wear that. I wish I was brave enough to wear that. To the people that did come up on the day and compliment the colors. So, you know, even the girls in Chanel, I was in Chanel. They're like, oh my God, I love all the color.
So can you recall, you know, is there a specific outfit as you think back over your career journey that you've gone through? And like I said, I see it in sort of two components there. But as you've gone through, can you think about a memorable outfit that you'd worn that either brought you joy or you remember, actually, you know what, I remember that outfit because it brought out some raw feelings for you?
Absolutely. So the first bright colored dress I ever bought was from a brand called Little Party Dress.
Mm.
And, it's fast fashion. There's no doubt about it. But they have the most amazing patterns. And I saw this dress and I thought, I think one, as a designer, I'm quite pedantic about the styles I put on because I do know how my figure looks. I do know what the best shape for me, etc. And I looked at this dress and went, yeah, I think that because, I have a waist and it was in at the waist. I think that dress would look good. Oh my God, look at the colors. You know what? Get the dress. And so I bought it. It arrived. I went, oh my golly gosh, look at this. Anyway, I wore it to my stepson and stepdaughter-in-law's baby shower.
Mm.
And I'll never forget it. And I felt so brave. I also felt super self-conscious, but I felt brave. And, I don't think anyone complimented me on that day, but I still felt, David probably did because he always does, but I still felt really like, I felt like, look at me, and I felt very me.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget wearing that dress. And I'm eternally grateful to Little Party Dress because I do believe that they, that brand was the brand that really helped me step out of my comfort zone and into wearing the color. I can't count how many of the dresses I have. And then another story, I think you've seen my flamingo coat from that new label in Melbourne. I got a custom jacket made. It's a festival jacket. And I'm like, am I too old for this? I'm like, no. I got back from overseas and it had arrived and I was going to see Lizzo with a young friend. And I wasn't going to wear it. I went, no, it's too much. And then I went, hang on, Jen, this is what you teach your ladies. You teach them to be brave. You need to wear it. So I had a pink chill skirt on. I had a T-shirt from Confetti Rebels that said, not made to be subtle, and my jacket. And I wore it. And again, the compliments that people were just going, oh my God, that jacket. The jacket is amazing, I might add. And again, I thought, Jen, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because, you're being who you were meant to be now. And you are bright and colorful. This is your brand. And you can't let the fear of what others think hold you back from being who you're meant to be.
So much to unpack there. But I'm going to ask, I really see you as a leader for someone who, as you said, at that pivotal moment of hitting, 50, that you then went, you know what? I'm going to step out. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to go after my dreams. And I really want to be able to touch on that moment of ownership, empowerment that you had to be able to step up and do something that would have been scary at the time and, step into that kind of world. And really, if you have a look now, fast forward down the track, you're really thriving in that space. What feelings came up for you to then make that kind of leap to go, you know what, I'm not going back to, find another job or become another employee. I'm actually going to try this on my own.
So I had a side hustle at the time and I was really lucky that I was already working with Tracy and Carl. And I was also working with another coach called Yvette Mayer. And they all encouraged me and said, Jen, you've got all these years of experiences. You need to do this for yourself. You don't need to be doing it for someone else. You need to do it for yourself. I was beginning to come out of the shell, the brightness was coming and they were like, you need to do this. So I then decided, okay, I'm going to take a leap of faith in myself. And that's when I jumped in with Tina Tower into her group. And I met a lady there called Deb O'Connor, who's now a friend of mine and a mentor for me in branding. And she introduced me to the brand personalities. And then when I found out who I was, the creator magician, it just, I don't know, everything suddenly became very clear that this was what I needed to do. This is the path I needed to go. And I invested in myself with Tina. I'm like, right, you've got to have the courage. It's all about, I feel like, having the courage to get out of your comfort zone. I'm a Taurian. I live in my comfort zone. I much prefer to be in my comfort zone. I like it there. But if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here today living my best life, like having a business that I love, having, oh my God, having 2 podcasts. Like, what the heck? How did that even happen? Being somebody that, people listen to and take advice from and recognize, like, I was at a crazy cat lady. I was at the cat lovers show. Somebody came up to me and said, I know you. I listened to your podcast. I'm like, oh my God.
Gosh.
How in this crowd of 25,000 people, and that's the thing. I would have still been hidden and invisible and lying low. And now I'm just living. I am so grateful. Every day I wake up with the gratitude that this is the life I now get to live. So yeah, it was just involved me listening to people and not putting myself down and listening to what they were saying about me, that they said, Jen, you need to be doing this. Look at all the experience you've got. You are brilliant at what you do. You need to do it. And instead of going, no, I said, okay, I'm in. It's terrifying. It's still terrifying. But, I'm there and I'm loving it. It took a lot to get over that negative beliefs, limiting beliefs, the self-sabotage, the mean girl. But, don't listen to them. They're not real.
I love that so much because, through this podcast journey, I'm trying to really showcase for my listeners the different avenues and the different opportunities there are, and how your personal brand can play a role, but really innately understanding who you are internally and then which one of those paths is going to be the right path for you. And you know what? Sometimes it's not going to be all or nothing, right? We have the concept of a portfolio career and things like that. But, I love being able to hear that sort of journey you've also taken. So I've got 3 fast questions for you. One is, if you had to say what your signature style piece was, what would you say that is?
I'm going to actually, there's a couple probably. Handbags, like bright colored handbags. I love handbags. I have many, I probably have 25 handbags and I love them. And they go from, beautiful, incredible Valentinos down to, I don't know, you can't see my little pink Cadillac handbag from Vendula that I adore, and my flamingo coat.
Love it.
My flamingo coat.
And if anyone wants to see pictures of those, I know if you have a look at Jen's Instagram, you'll be able to see some images there as well. Now, transformational read. So whether it's for those listeners looking for inspiration, either maybe what book maybe you're reading at the moment, or you might be listening to, or something you have read that you might, that really made an impression on you.
So I'm a big reader, but I tend to read fiction. However, and they're just right here because you can see these are books I look at every day. Daily Mantras and The Magic of You. These are from Lisa, the Collective Hub, Lisa Messenger. And this little one is from Laura Jane Jones. And this is they're daily mantra books. So, I look up every day and I often share them in my stories on Instagram as well. And this is the most gorgeous little bright book of, quotes. And I just look at it, it's like the universe loves you and needs you to learn to love yourself. So I'm very much about these little short books. I have a lot of beautiful books out sitting by my reading chair that are, the aspirational books and that, but I do love fiction. So I tend to stick with that. But these books, these little quick, yes, this is what you need today. Books are my go-to every day.
I love that little injection of positivity.
Yeah.
So, and then the final question is in terms of mindset rituals. So we all have those days when we need an extra boost, right? We've all been there. So is there something that you do outside of the quotes that helps you feel empowered every day?
Oh, let me think. I go and look at my before and after photos.
Oh, wow.
And I look back at the before and I think this is never going to be me again. I never want to go back there. I look at, branding photos. I've had branding photos done when I was being somebody who I thought I should be as a brand strategist. And I look at the photos now of me, the photos I get when I do branding shoots, and I compare them. I have a couple of photos that I look at when I was just all in black and just dead in my eyes. And I'm like, you got this, girl. You got this. You are being who you're meant to be right now. And you are living your best life. And you are so blessed to be doing that. And, sometimes like days are hard, days are hard. Sometimes I get up and I'm like, we were just talking about like I've had to push a launch back, which I did not want to do because, there's just things going on in my life that are out of my control. But it's like, no, you got this. It's not the end. It's just, you're just moving something. So I look back at those photos and go, yeah, you know what? Never go back to that again. And never, ever want to be that person again. I am who I'm meant to be right now. And I love it.
Goosebumps and starting to get teary-eyed. So I'm going to say thank you, Jen. That was incredible. Now, if people want to find you, follow you, find out more about you, I will have a whole lot of details in the show notes. But do you want to talk about some of the things that you offer?
Sure. Well, I have two. Well, let's talk about branding. I am a brand strategist. I'm a brand foundations coach. I love what I do. I help women build a brand that will become a flamingo in a flock of seagulls to help them stand on their own 2 feet if life is not the fairy tale that we all wanted to be when we were little. If I can rewrite my story, so can anyone. And, that was started back, I guess, when, my ex left and I realized that we as women can do whatever we want. So I have courses, I work one-on-one. I was saying to Sonia, who I have actually worked with, she's one of my most amazing clients. Yeah, I have courses, I have one-on-ones. I have the Flamazing brand day, which I'm very excited about, just coming up. But you can find me and please slide into the DMs because I love a chat over Instagram. That's where I like to hang the most. It's Jen BeI brands. And just so you know, the BE is because I help women be who they were meant to be in the first place. But I also have a podcast called Bring Back Your Pink. And that's my passion project. And that's my podcast for women in midlife. And we talk about everything over there. We talk about, career reinventions. We talk about style. We talk about sex. We talk about all the things. So that's Bring Back Your Pink. And I just will share with you because my business is based around both them based around flamingos. But did you know flamingos, when they are parenting, when they are stressed, when they're not eating properly, when they're burnt out, they fade and they lose their pink like I did. So I am out there to, one, show that you can get your pink back because I did, but to help other ladies get their pink back and live their most amazingly vibrant lives in midlife. So you can find me at Bring Back Your Pink on Instagram too.
Amazing, Jen. Thank you so much for sharing your story with my listeners. And as I said on the show notes, all those details will be there. So with that, and thinking of those beautiful flamingos, I will wrap up. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being part of this inspiring episode. If you found value in today's discussion, please don't keep it a secret. Share it with a friend on social media, tag me at Your Style Collective, and leave a review. Your support means the world. Join me again next week for another empowering episode of Style and Strategy, the Leadership Series. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, you're already taking that first step towards your transformation journey. See you next time.